Well, this is a fun day. We've done some good things to the Triumph BSA combo bike. It's a Triumph. It's badged Triumph with a BSA B50 engine in it. They only did it 1 year. I believe it was 1974. That's the only year they made this combination. I think it's called a B50 MX was the engine, and they badged it as a Triumph T something. It's a neat old bike, very limited production. Today we bought and installed the new Kickstarter gears, and this whole thing has been replaced, and it's very nice. And then we replaced this whole gear, got the spring in place. We're ready to put the cover on, and realized that the gasket for this bike is, if it's not one of a kind, I'm not sure. We've got to keep looking for another gasket, because I got dozens of gaskets like this and none of them fit. So we're going to keep looking for the right gasket, and if necessary, make one. A while back, we built this battery box for it. It is really well done. Had the bottom welded. It's mounted on this cross piece. I made a hold down that's locked in place. This battery is not going anywhere. Because we're putting an electronic ignition on it, and it will run better with a battery. Let's see, what else have we done? We've cleaned up the carburetor, got it all ready to go, and we've got the little stubby muffler sitting here. It's not installed yet, but that's what it's going to look like. It's going to go on the exhaust pipe and braced up to this bolt. This morning we installed the rear fender, bolted it in place, fitted it very nicely. We've had some welding done on that to clean it up and fix it up. We've got the old style vintage rear light. We placed that, and it looks really cool. I love that. That's going to look so cool when we get it done. We're just going to spray paint the back fender black for the client. I've got the wires hanging there to go to the tail light. Over here, the primary is still open. We're going to leave it open so that we can, the first time we start the bike, we can set the timing with a strobe light, because there's no opening in the cover. So we're leaving that open until we do the first start. I think I showed you at one other time, I just put this temporary ignition switch here. Nice little bracket that goes on the back of this screw. And it's strictly ignition on, ignition off. You can't beat that with a stick. That's there because we're still trying to find side covers for this bike. We have one, we're missing one. The client is looking for the other, or at least a new set. And it's coming together. It's looking cool. We pretty soon we're gonna hang the tank and see if we can do a first start. And that'll be fun. So it's been a fun morning. All right, we got a little bit more done today on the bike. We dropped the skid plate off, and we drained the oil out of the engine and removed the top hat filter at the bottom of the engine sump and cleaned that. We removed the filter at the bottom of the oil tank in frame and cleaned that, put it all back together, and we will put in fresh oil before starting the motor. Like I said before, we got the Kickstarter gear installed. But then we ran into a brick wall because the gasket kit that came with the bike does not include the right side timing cover gasket, and I don't have one. I've got a dozen for A65s, not a one for a 441 or this B50. So I'm going to have to order a gasket. That's a shame. So we're sort of stopped. We'll put the bike aside for a while. I did go ahead and paint the rear fender. The client asked for it to be black, and I went and got some primer and I primed it, and it's looking really good. So tomorrow, after 24 hours or so, I will paint it black. We'll be able to put that on the bike before we put the bike aside. So that's where we are. The bike is looking good, looking better, and I'm just going to wait till we get the gasket to do much more to it. When we get the gasket, or if I take a few minutes and mount the fender, Then I can put the tail light on, and then I can make it look good. So anyway, that's where we are. Did some good work today. Feel real good about it. The bike is looking better. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, personal idiosyncrasy. I replaced this oil line going to the rocker boxes with translucent oil line that goes all the way down to pick up the oil down here off of the bottom of the engine. I like to see the oil going to the rocker boxes, and you can't see the oil through black oil lines. You can tell if you have oil flow by looking into the cap of the oil tank, but you can't tell that the oil is actually making it to the rocker boxes if the hose going up there is black. So I always replace it with translucent fiber reinforced plastic tubing, so that once I start the bike, verify that we have oil flow through the engine, I can then also at the same time verify that we have oil going to the rocker boxes. You don't want to starve the top end. That would be a bad thing. So that's about all. Bike is starting to look good.